Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I will be repairing this destroyed iPhone 5C, which has been sitting in my room for a very long time. I won this iPhone for $28.55 on eBay, and as you can see, it is in very poor condition. The display is completely shattered, it is missing a home button, and the LCD itself is damaged, which causes the touchscreen to either glitch out or just not work at all. The back of the phone is very scratched and chipped, however it is not preventing the phone from working, so it doesn't need to be replaced just yet. Powering the phone on, the slide to set up screen is a dead giveaway that this iPhone is not running its latest version of iOS, that being iOS 10. Going into the About page in settings reveals that this phone is a 16GB model running iOS 8.3. I will be replacing the display assembly and installing a home button, which should hopefully bring the phone back into working order. First of all, we will need to remove the two pentalobe screws from the bottom of the iPhone. As the display is shattered, we can't use the suction cup to remove the display, but I managed to use two plastic opening tools to pry up the display from the edges. Taking a look inside the phone, it is extremely dirty, which is probably because of the hole in the display where the home button should be. However, I have a suspicion that the battery may have leaked acid everywhere, but as I don't have a replacement battery, it will have to stay for now. Before we do anything else, we need to unscrew the two screws holding the battery connector bracket in place, and then remove the bracket and disconnect the battery connector. Now we can remove the four screws holding the display cable bracket in place and remove the bracket from the logic board. We can then disconnect the three cables holding the display in place, and then remove the display itself. Next we need to remove the two screws holding the home button bracket in place and carefully pry up the home button cable from the right hand edge. This assembly can then be removed, revealing the hole where the home button should be. We can now remove the two screws holding the earpiece bracket in place and then slide the bracket off to the right, and the earpiece itself falls right out. Next we can carefully pry up the edge of the sensor assembly cable, and the assembly falls out. We can also pry the microphone out of its recess. Now we can remove all 6 screws from the LCD shield plate and remove the plate from the display. This new display is actually not my preferred refurbished panel, but rather a best quality aftermarket display. This means that the quality is not quite as good as an original Apple display, but it is not too far off from it. The reason I went with this display is because my supplier had a really cheap deal on the aftermarket version at the time, which was hard to resist. We can begin the reassembly by screwing the LCD shield plate down onto the new display assembly. We can then stick the top sensor cables down onto the display and insert the microphone into its recess. Once everything is in place, we can place the earpiece speaker in position and screw the earpiece bracket back over the display. The next step is to install the new home button. You want to make sure that the home button is aligned properly before you screw anything down. You can do this by turning the display over and then checking that the square in the home button is level. Once the home button is in place, we can screw its bracket down, making sure the cable and connector are stuck to the display too. Now we can reinstall the display back onto the body of the phone. It may be useful to prop the screen up against something so you don't have to hold it in place. We can then reinstall the 3 connectors back onto the logic board and screw down the display connector bracket. Once we've done that, we can reconnect the battery connector and screw its bracket down on top of it. Finally, we can seal up the device and insert the 2 pentalobe screws into the bottom of the phone. The plastic screen protector can come off, and we can boot the phone up and test the touchscreen is fully working. Well, this is the $28.55 iPhone 5C, which, because of this small and easy fix, is now worth 2 or 3 times more in value than when I bought it. As much as I would love to keep this iPhone, I have no choice but to sell it so I can continue repairing more phones such as this one. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.